Hello, welcome to Be a Light with Mushan podcast. I have met many inspirational people in my life, at work, and through platforms, organizations across global. And today, actually, I invite someone who is very, very special and close in my personal life. And you will find her incredibly inspiring. She is my husband's ex-wife. Yeah, you're right. You didn't hear wrong. I'm inviting my husband's ex-wife here. I know many people are so surprised when I talked about her and when I show the admiration for her. And now we have her here. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much to be on my show. And just being here alone, you already showed great support for me. And just imagine your life, how much you have supported me. So today I brought you to my show because from all aspects, I found you incredibly uplifting and inspiring. And so I want to invite you to share your experience, your journey, and your insights to inspire others to shed a light in the world. So let's start. Tell us a little bit about your background.
That's always a fun question.
Yes.
I come from a family of 6 kids. I've got my engineering degree, and I went on for my MBA, and I've worked my whole life, and I have 3 awesome children. And life just happens. So it's hard to go through what's my background because I'm just you just live life.
Yeah, that's a hard question. That's why I want to challenge you. Because
thanks so much, Michelle.
with such a rich background, you don't know where to start. But I think those are the good basic information which are essential. Family is always a major part in your life. And to me, I think you have exceeded as a professional woman, also as well as a family member. I see how successful you have been in the workplace as well as maintaining the family well. So how do you balance that? How did you balance that?
You can't. And this is honest to God truth. Women in general get the short end of the stick. We wanted the option to be able to go to work, and so we decided we were going to go to work, but we still, in almost every relationship I know, the women still carry the lion's share of the home work as well. So we get to work in the job and we get to work at home. And some of it's just I think it's just the way we're designed. We're certainly more likely to care about raising our children and being tied to them. One of my favorite stories, all-time stories, was a guy that worked for me. He was an ex-football player, and he had 4 kids under the age of 5. So you're talking, and his wife stayed at home. So in his mind, she was not working. And we were at an event, and the spouses were attending, and so I was talking to his wife, and I made the comment that I went back to work because it's easier to go to work and deal with adults than it is to stay home and take care of children. It's an easier thing. And her husband, for years afterwards, was like, thanks a lot, Maureen. Now, every time I go home and say, why haven't you got dinner ready? My wife says, your boss says it's harder. My job's harder than your job, because it is. I absolutely hate when women say, I don't work, I stay at home with the kids, because they are not paid, but they're working harder. In fact, I absolutely believe that the way we calculate GDP is wrong, because we only people that earn income count. What about the fact that all these people are able to work because of all the people behind them supporting them for free? So I just, to me, people need to make the choice that's right for them. For some people, it's the right choice to go back to work and raise your children, but have the child care, etc. And for other people, it's the right choice to stay at home. Let people make the choice that works.
Yeah, so true. And thank you for being authentic to share that, and don't feel guilty about staying away from the kids. And I need to have my own word, and I need to have my own contribution as a professional woman. Some people can't. Maybe they feel guilty, or other family members will guilt them in that kind of trap.
Yeah, and you'll run into that, and you just have to be okay with people judging you. I mean, certainly people have, people have commented. I mean, you're not a good mother because you went to work. You didn't stay home with your children. I would never give up the spending time with my children in those growing up years. And there are heartbreaking moments. I mean, I will always, it's on my heart forever. I will always remember the time when I was leaving for work and my son's bedroom was right above the garage. And when I backed out, so Christopher, when I would back out, he would go to the window and wave, bye, Mom. Oh. And this one morning it was snowing outside, and he was in a place where he just didn't want me to leave. And this, little toddler comes running down the stairs and running out the garage after my car because he doesn't want me to leave.
Yeah.
And now today where I am, I'd be like, I'm not going to work today. I'm staying home. But at the time, I didn't have that ability. So I just ended up being a little late for work.
Yeah. Definitely, women have to face so many challenges, including the separations from the kids. And personally, you saw Zoe grew up. Zoe is my daughter, and Maureen saw her grow up. And definitely, I spent enough time with her. But when she was a little older, one time she told me, "Oh, Dad raised me alone." That was heartbreaking, but that's just the fact that she didn't remember the time I spent with her. But when I went to work, she remembered those moments. But
yeah,
I know she will understand.
Yeah. Well, I remember Emily telling me once that you were always late to pick me up. You were always late to pick me up, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Basketball. You were always late." And there was a time Adam and I were not together anymore, and I don't know if we were divorced, but Chris and Emily both had basketball practice at two different schools at the same time. So I had to, one of them had to be dropped off early and one of them had to be picked up late because they were at the same time at two different locations. And I had talked to the coach, and the coach was like, "No problem, just come a little late for Emily, that's fine." But from Emily's view, she was standing there waiting for her mom every night because I had to pick up Chris first.
Yeah, those imperfect moments, they would remember, and they may remind you to feel bad, but they become resilient. By the way, for the audience who don't know, Emily is my stepdaughter, Maureen's daughter, the older daughter. And so, talking about the kids, you are a career woman as well as a great successful mom. Not only raised three beautiful children, one of them, Valerie, who is my dear stepdaughter, your daughter, who is a Down syndrome kid. How was it like to raise someone who has disability like her?
So
tough question too.
Yeah. I mean, the truth of the matter is when you have a child and find out that child is disabled at any level, all you want is normal. There is no way around that. Nobody chooses or wants to have a child that has a disability. But and this is where framing comes in. Sometimes you have to like I could have thought about, and I did at the beginning, I don't want to have a child with disability. I don't want to raise a child with a disability. I didn't sign up for this. This is not what I expected. This is not what I wanted. I could have stayed in that place and been really unhappy, you know, but I can't change it. I'm not going to be able to change this. So instead, I chose to look at it like, this is my last child. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of raising this child because I'm not having any more children after this. I want to love and have an awesome time with this child. And, when you can't change the situation, you might as well think of it in a way that makes it work. And by the way, one of the credits I will always owe Adam for is and I don't even know if you know this. I don't know if I ever told you this, but we chose Valerie's name before she was born. And the name Valerie means strong of mind, strong of body, will succeed. And when she was born with Down syndrome, I couldn't see that she was strong of body. She had a bad heart, she had bad hearing, she had all those mental issues, and she wasn't going to succeed. And she's succeeded in an awesome way, but at the time, and I remember looking at Adam and say, what are we going to name her? And he said, we already picked the name. Her name's Valerie. And, I would have regretted my entire life if I'd not named her Valerie.
Yeah.
And the fact that Adam was like, we already picked the name. She's Valerie. I was like, it was huge for me.
Yeah. It's a beautiful name. And obviously, Valerie has become a source of inspiration to all of us. In fact, our family is so much closer than some traditional blended families. There's a lot to do because of her. And so, yeah, that's your choice. Definitely, sometimes we can't change the past or change something you can change, but you definitely can change the attitude, how to react to the fact.
Yeah. And she, I mean, you're right. She adds a huge amount to our family. And in my opinion, there's a huge part of Valerie, a huge amount of Valerie that's more normal in the way we all should be.
Yes.
than I mean, this is a girl that, she'll tell you what she thinks, no issues, kindly. She holds her boundaries, no, that's not the way I do that, and she's fine with that. And yeah, she's, and my kids, my other two children. So I've, with the three children, Valerie, I never had to teach Chris and Emily, her siblings. I never had to teach them to be grateful. They were grateful every day because they saw how hard Valerie had to work for everything.
Yeah.
And, for them, gratitude and acceptance of others came naturally.
Yeah. I remember about 13 years ago, I did the interview with Valerie and with all the members of the family. And I did see all of us, everyone whoever is around Valerie really get influenced by her positively and also get inspired to do much better. And that's why I have been like sharing about Valerie. I would like to invite Valerie to my podcast, but she said she's supporting me, but she's not ready for podcast yet. Yeah.
We'll work on her.
Yeah. She has been my strongest supporter and also such an advocate for me. Yeah.
And I honestly think that children help blended families. Zoe being born was an awesome addition to the family. I mean, she was my Buddha baby.
Yeah.
Bald Buddha baby when you shaved all her hair off.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That's also because we have the base like respect and love. And to some people couldn't believe that. They thought of leaving Zoe with someone. We thought of you. I don't know if you know it or not. I was talking to Adam. Yeah, Zoe has aunts and uncles in China, even here. But thinking of leaving her with someone, and you was someone who she loves and respects, and also so close, just like an aunt or a mom.
Yeah, no. Well,
Yeah.
Zoe's awesome. She's awesome. And I can't believe she's in high school now. I mean, I just can't believe that she's entering high school,
Yeah, I
and
know.
all I want for her is I want, I just want her to love herself exactly the way she is and just be her because she's perfect. She's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you for
Well,
your unconditional love for her.
well, she is perfect.
Yeah, to the audience who don't know who Zoe is, Valerie will introduce. Valerie is my stepdaughter. Zoe is my daughter, and who is very close to Maureen. I remember last year when I went to the music festival, that's 2 years, right? We left her with you. She was so excited.
She was so much fun to have, and then I'm like, hey Zoe, we're cooking dinner, you get to help. She goes, I do. Like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you can get her to learn a lot of more things than I'm around, because when I say something, probably it's not as effective.
All kids listen to other people better than they listen to their parents. All kids.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So talking about our family relationship, obviously we are a huge loving family. I think it's a lot to do with your kindness, your accepting, and your support for me. How could you maintain such healthy and positive relationship with Adam before me?
Yeah. So obviously divorce is never easy. There is nothing good about having to go through a divorce. And I don't think there should be. It's a horrible situation, and you have to navigate your way through it. I hired a lawyer who told me at the beginning, and the reason I hired him was he said, look, through the divorce, my top priority is going to be the children. My second priority is going to be you. And my third priority is going to be Adam. Mm-hmm. So why do you want to start a war or a battle with the person that you are going to, there's, once you have children together, you're connected for life. You're connected for life.
Yeah.
You're going to be at the weddings together. You're going to be with the grandkids together. You're going to be connected for life. So why start a war there? And divorce isn't a win-lose. It's not a zero-sum game. You can figure out a way, as long as you keep your priorities. If your priority is to make the other person miserable, then fine. You're going to make yourself miserable. You're going to make the kids miserable. You're going to make everybody miserable. But why do you want to do that?
Yeah.
So we already had that. Now, it wasn't that it was easy, because at the beginning, I didn't want a divorce. I had all of, to me, it felt like I don't want to fail. I don't want my kids to be part of a broken family, and then I was in my 30s and I felt like, well, I'm over the hill. I'm like, well, you were stupid, Maureen, for thinking that. But I'm like, I've got 3 kids, one of who's disabled, so I'm going to be alone the rest of my life. I don't want this. Mm-hmm. But again, it comes down to once I accepted that it was what it was going to be, and I can have a great life single. And I learned not to tell people that single is better, because all of the married people don't like it when you say that. so instead of saying single is better, I've learned to say single is simpler. And anybody married will agree that single is simpler. It's, not better or worse, it's simpler. Yeah. So yeah, before you arrived on the scene, Adam and I had already gone through, we're divorced, we're not going to get back together, we're going to be friends. And that's what we both wanted.
Yeah.
And so then, with you entering the scene, I mean, I trusted, like I said, Adam and I never lost respect for each other. So even before I met you, I trusted his judgment. Michelle is going to be a good person. I'm going to like Michelle. Michelle is going to be good for my kids. She's going to be good for Adam. And so if you kind of get what you expect. So I expected it to be good. Now, honestly, if you'd been a terrible person, we probably wouldn't have this good family relationship. But you don't recognize that you were key to that success. Adam, when he met you, he told you, I'm friends with my ex-wife, and we get together occasionally and have conversation. And I'm going to continue to do that, even though you are going to be my spouse. And you didn't go into the, no, you're not. You can't have anything to do with your ex-wife. You can't do that. You didn't go into the jealous mode. You went, okay, well, that makes sense. They were married for 15 years, so they can still be friends, and it's not a threat to anybody. So, you helped make it work. I mean, you helped make sure that the family dynamic stayed together.
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing that.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Everybody that meets you says you're awesome. They're like, you're so lucky. Not like I am.
Yeah, I think that's any relationship is a mutual relationship. Without your generosity or your kindness or accepting attitude, no matter how good I am, you will find ways to be jealous about or to find ways to make trouble. But we both are very, very lucky, I would say. We all are lucky, and Adam is the luckiest of all, of course.
Oh, and he's particularly lucky when we both gang up on him.
Yes, those moments are very precious. And that's what actually made him a better man today. I think our relationship worked out. It's also because of us have this mutual support and understanding. And in fact, I have been telling people when I had arguments with Adam, you know how hard it could be. I would think in this whole world, there was someone who could understand me, even without talking to her. That's you. So in the back of my head, I know that I'm not alone. And
No.
of course, in fact, you are verbally and explicitly really showed your support. Whenever we had some disagreements or arguments, you stood fairly, even tell us what to do to solve this disagreement. I think that's really, really amazing of you to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I honestly, you and Adam are an awesome match. And yes, Adam, I mean, we both know he can be challenging at times.
Yeah. Okay, you were a very professional woman, and now even you're close to retirement age, but you are very active. And do you have any other goals in career or life?
Yeah. So, the weird thing is I don't know that I ever really had goals. My goal when I was working was always, around the company. I want to grow the company to be bigger. I want to launch into a new market successfully. I want to do, so it was always that, not necessarily personal goals for where I was going to be. I just, I mean, literally, I wanted to do work that I enjoyed. And by that, I mean, there is no job that you can like 100% of the time. So, as long as you love your job, 60 to 70% of the time, you're good.
Yeah.
And I wanted to enjoy and respect the people I got to work with. I wanted people that stretched me, people that you could work together towards a common goal. What I loved doing was building teams and working with a group of people to accomplish something. It's something that mattered. And that's, I was lucky enough to work at a company that, I mean, I'd been there. The boss that I had all through most of my career, I think I'd been there 15 years, and then I started working for the CEO, and we already had a trust relationship, but he let me do what I needed to do. And I know I drove him nuts at times. I mean, I know I did. I mean, I remember once, I don't even remember what we were discussing or what I was driving towards, but he basically just threw up his hands and says, just do what you want, Maureen, you're going to anyway. And I said, thank you. And I walked out the door, so I know I drove him nuts, but we worked together for a long time, and we were pulling in the same direction. And you know this, if you've got a team that's not pulling in the same direction, you get a group of talented people and they are not all on the same page, you don't move forward. You zigzag and it's so slow. But if you get that same group of people to agree on the direction and pull in the same direction, it's amazing. It's amazing what you can accomplish. And so that's what I mean. I'm competitive at nature. I mean, I love to compete and I love to win, and I'll compete on anything. And so sales and marketing was great for me because that's what you're doing. You're competing with other companies to try to win market share. I was lucky enough to work at a company where we were able to build a team that we took over. I mean, we owned the Lions. I mean, I think when I left, we had 80% market share. So it was fun.
Amazing. Yeah. I know how accomplished you were at the company, become the president of the marketing and the sales, right? That's amazing. What you shared actually empowered me, and I'm sure some audience here, because sometimes you don't have to have a set goals like clearly, but if you do what you can at that moment and just do what's right, eventually it will bring you success.
Yeah, it's easy when you work at a company for a certain amount of time. It's easy. It's very easy to see what's wrong with the company. And it's very easy to see what's wrong. It's much harder to be part of the solution. So I always had a rule. You can come in and vent and complain all you want, but you better also have several suggestions for how to fix it. Otherwise, I don't want to talk to you. Don't vent, or come in and say, Maureen, I just need to vent. Let me vent, and fine, and then you can walk off. But if you really want to complain, then you have to have a solution. Otherwise, it's easy to complain. It's harder to come up with a solution.
I agree. Yeah. Many people just focus on complaining or mistakes or issues, and instead of spending time finding solutions.
What is the solution? And the other thing people do that I see a lot. I mean, I see everybody do it, where you blame something that you have no control over. So I absolutely hate when somebody says something like, well, I didn't get that position because I'm a female, or they got promoted over me because I'm a female. It may be, I'm not saying that women, certainly there are fewer women CEOs than men CEOs. So obviously women don't hold the same positions that men do. But as soon as you blame something that you have no control over, you lost. I don't want to define anything by the fact that you're a man or a woman, or you're Black, or you're other minority. Best person for the job. Period. And so I don't believe in women's only groups or Blacks only groups or any only groups. Put the right person for the job. And I also hate the opposite of that. Oh, well, you got promoted because you're a woman and they wanted a woman in that position. It's crap. I remember early, or when I got my MBA, I got accepted to both the University of Chicago and Northwestern, so I could select. And another guy that I was working with was going for his MBA at the same time, but he didn't get into either one of the schools. So he had to go to DePaul, and he was not happy that he didn't get into either. And he told me, well, you got in because you're a woman. And I, I said, pull out your GMAT scores and let's compare. Because I wasn't going to take it. I was not going to let him believe that I got in and he didn't because I was a female and he was a male. And so I made him pull out his GMAT scores and made him see that my GMAT scores were far higher than his. And so it wasn't because I was a female. Because women can do any job they want to do. And it shouldn't be because you're a woman. So anyway, but I do see the value of supportive women groups. I just don't want to define myself as female.
Yeah, you are very strong. I gotta say, you're very strong, and this is definitely a unique perspective. So, what's your opinion on microaggression? Do you believe there's such thing?
All of that exists. I mean, I had a conversation. So I find it. There was a thing running around, I don't, on social media about, and some woman started it that said, I'd rather run into a bear in the woods than a man.
Okay.
And then it listed all the reasons why. If it's a bear, this won't happen, that won't happen, that won't happen. And men took huge offense to this. Like, how dare women think that we're more dangerous than a bear? And all I could think is, I have, in my entire life, I've never met a single woman that has not been harassed.
Wow.
I mean, tell the truth, Michelle, have you ever been harassed by a man?
Yeah.
I've never met a single woman that has not been harassed by a male. At the same time, I've never met a man that admits to harassing women.
Yeah.
So there certainly is this thing, where women are treated differently. And if you call out somebody for harassment, you're the problem person. And, there's all of that nastiness there. Right or wrong, I chose to ignore it. If a guy harassed me at work, I called him out one-on-one and never reported it. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the right approach, because, it should go away. Women shouldn't have to deal with the harassment that they deal with. But it's going to take a long time to change, and it's going to take a lot of women raising their sons properly.
Yeah, education. Yeah.
Boys need to know what, and maybe they don't know what makes women uncomfortable. But have you ever called anybody out for harassing you? Or do you just ignore it?
Just ignored it. Yeah, I guess, as you said, seems like maybe to some degree at that situation, it seems like, oh, okay, it's part of the society, part of the social norm, and then just ignore it or step away. Yeah, usually.
Yeah,
but
you step away.
Yeah, and also being even now, like at in our front yard, if I was doing something, and even the kids, high school kids, they swim by would calling me something hard to go or something like this.
I know, and I'm like, what are you trying to accomplish? Maybe we all should start harassing men and see how they like it.
Well, that's such a fun conversation. Also, I know there's another aspect that I admire you, is that you have such a healthy lifestyle. You have such persistent workout. Share a little bit about your routine and how you stayed that persistent.
So if you'd asked me this pre-COVID, I would have told you I'm just motivated. I like working out. It's easy for me because I like it. And then during COVID, I realized that I was very able to motivate myself to get to the gym, but I needed somebody running a class to make me work out. So if I work out on my own, I'm like, that's enough. I'm done. I'm done. The bottom line is I feel better and have more energy if I work out. And there are a lot of workouts that I really enjoy. And I'm a nicer person, and a lot of it, is outdoor stuff, hiking or biking. But I do go to, gyms and, like I'll do a yoga class or weightlifting. As you get older, it becomes, when you're younger, it becomes about, well, I'm going to look good. But, that's when you're in your 20s. By the time you're my age, it's like, I want this body to keep working. And I want to be able to do everything that I like to do. And you start realizing that, your health is going to fail as you get older. It's a matter of when and how, but it's going to fail. So you need to, do the things while you can do them and keep yourself, moving. But yeah, I mean, it was a habit that I get up in the morning and I work out before I do anything. Most mornings, not all mornings.
That's the best habit which I want to develop, and probably it's impossible as I'm not all.
I have a really good friend that she basically says, you know what? I cannot find any exercise that I enjoy. I have tried everything. I hate it all. I don't like any of it. And and the truth of the matter is, Michelle, we think we have control, that, hey, if we live a healthy lifestyle, we'll have a better life. I think 99% is in your genes, and it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, having a good habit of moving around, definitely. Afterwards, I believe almost everyone would feel good after they really worked out. But just getting to there or start that, maintain that is so challenging.
So when I get into that, I call it the funk place, but everybody gets into a place where you just really don't feel like doing anything. You're like, I'm not in a good mood. It's a bad day. And I always, if you can get yourself to go out and even just walk around the block, you'll feel better.
Yeah.
Always. So yeah.
That's my minimum goal, is every day go out and walk around the block at least.
Just once around the block and you'll feel better. Yep.
Yeah, totally. Also, to our audience, by the way, Maureen and our family, we are going on a vacation.
We're going to go die on Angel's Landing is what's going to happen.
Angel's Landing. Yeah, you are our leader of that group. Hopefully no one will die. And yeah, we are close to our end of discussion. And I know you traveled a lot. Tell us a little bit, how many countries have you traveled?
Oh my gosh. I've been everywhere for work. The only continent I've not been on is Antarctica, and I'm making that plan with Mary Beth, which is Charlie's sister. We're going to go to Antarctica because I've not been there. I've been all over the Middle East, everywhere from Saudi to Oman to Abu Dhabi, Doha, all of them. A bunch of the African countries. I have not, believe it or not, I've not been to Israel. I have been to Beirut. I've been all over Eastern Europe, mostly the developing countries, so all over South America. And I've been to a lot of Western Europe, but I tell people all the time, I did all this travel, Australia, New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. And people always are like, man, that's so awesome. And I'm like, no, you don't understand, because I needed to get back home because my children were still, they weren't young, but they were teenagers. And I needed to get back home. And, I did one trip internationally where I was gone probably 16 days, and I had 2 nights in a hotel room.
Oh,
out of 16
most
days.
of the time we're flying?
I was flying to the next country, flying to the next country. I was flying to India. I was flying to South Africa. I was flying to the next country. you know, so I would have to hit all of these places in a single trip, and it's exhausting. I mean, it's absolutely exhausting. You know, and you don't really get to experience the country. You get to experience some of the country because, you know, in general, you're going to have, you know, half a day downtime or something. But you know, you get enough to say, oh, I want to go back. You know, so like Vietnam, I know I want to go back. It was an awesome country but I was there for work, so I didn't have a whole lot of time for investigating.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. And now you got time, got ability to travel around the world without worrying about work.
Yeah, which is
You earned
nice.
it.
Which
You
is
earned it.
nice. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. Your courage and your curiosity, and also your go-getter attitude.
You know,
Really get a lot done.
yeah, do you know that I'm trying to remember the Roosevelt quote. I mean, I had it up on my bulletin board at work always because it's, to me, it says everything. But you know, it's a quote that basically says, you know, the credit belongs to the person in the arena, you know, the person with the blood and the sweat and the work that's failing,
Yeah.
failing and getting up and trying again and failing. I any learning and any growth that I've had in life has come from my hard times, my failures. I mean, I don't, you know, I don't learn when things are going smoothly and well. I grow and learn when they're hard. And so, and I think that's probably true of most people. And you also, you value things more if you've had to work for them.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I also take the attitude of, you know, I want to, any situation I'm in, I want to try to leave it better than what I found it. So, and honestly, there's a filter there. If what I'm about to say or do is not going to make the situation better, then just be quiet. Don't say anything. If it's not going to help, don't say anything.
Yeah. Wow. So is that a parting message, or do you have another advice to share with our audience?
I am good. This has been, you know, Michelle, I don't think you have any idea how hard it is for me to have a conversation like this because it's mixing personal with business and it's just a little bit outside of my comfort zone.
Oh, really?
You're about the only person in the world I would do it for.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. I know it's a big ask. When I told Adam, I said I was going to ask you. He said, really? What are you going to talk about? She would not do it. I said, well, it doesn't hurt. I ask her because in my heart, in my mind, like you are the perfect person to be on this podcast because it's be a light. And I think you have united many people around you, and why not to help others around? And that's one of your purposes.
Well, thank you. I mean, you know, I mean, I pretty much look at myself as as an everyday person. So I appreciate the way you look at me, but it's, you know, you know, like I said, you just live your life based on what's dealt to you. And, you know, when I was younger, I used to always say actions are more important than words. But as I've got older, I've realized it's your thoughts that matter the most, because what you think is going to drive everything. You know, I mean, think about it. Valerie knows she's an awesome singer.
Yes.
Well, the rest of us may have a different judgment, but she knows.
Yeah, and she enjoys it.
And she enjoys it. And what you think drives everything.
Yeah.
So be careful what you think.
Yeah. That's a great message. Thank you so much, Maureen, for such enlightening messages and insights. And definitely, I learned more from you, even though I learned a lot already. But I'm sure our audience will be so grateful for your messages and your insights.
Well, thank you, Michelle. It's been awesome. And hey,
thank you so much.
We're on vacation come Saturday.
Yes, yeah, on vacation. Okay, thank you everyone for listening to our conversation and for watching. And if you like my podcast, and subscribe and share and make the world a better place. See you, everyone.